Help, I am getting shopped and losing so many deals. If that's a topic that is near and dear to your heart, you're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals and Carl. Man, what a great topic today, because I just got off the phone with a couple of guys. They're brothers. They've got a great business. And man, we just talked about business, and this continues to come up. So I thought, man, let's jump on a podcast. Let's have a candid conversation. You and I have not prepped answers or talked about this. It's just let's get on and talk. So, hey, let me lay it out. So here's the conversation. Carl, man, I just every deal and this is literally the way they're talking is, man, every deal I'm getting shopped. The credit union's a point lower. Man, we're just getting killed in this market. My mix of business is literally almost 100% conventional because nobody's accepting FHA offers. Man, I'm just so discouraged and deflated. How many times are we hearing that, man?
Man, I feel like jumping off the bridge already. So
yeah,
I'm hoping you're taking us to a positive spot here, because
you and I are going to take us to a positive spot, because that was the conversation. And Carl, frankly, it's what I think. You got the two extremes, man. You got an extreme, like our membership right now is up 22.9% in the last 4 months. And
wait, just for clarification, I just make sure it's not that not the membership is up. The loans that they're closing is up, and the amount of loans they're closing in the last, I think it was like 5 months, I think is what it was.
Yes,
was an increase of 22.9% more loans.
That's it. And so you're seeing this group.
That's a good number.
That's a great number. Hey, what business wouldn't love to be up 22% year over year? And this is in 5 months.
Apple and Amazon would love to be up 22.9%. So
yeah, and so you got this group that's winning, and there's activities they're doing, there's things they're doing, they're getting better, and it goes back to skills. They're getting better in their skills, which is helping them there in their business. And then you've got another almost on the other side, and it's like, man, it's a tough time. I'm losing deals. I'm never. It's you're hearing words like that. What do you say, man? I've got some thoughts, but I wanted to hear what you would have to say about that.
Well, the first thing I heard you saying, he said he's getting shopped always.
Always. Yep. Every deal.
On every deal. So I'm not saying that's not happening. I'm saying it's unlikely.
Yes.
Because we all get shopped. We just don't get shopped on every deal. So I think we have to quantify first, like how many and what is typical. So,
hey, can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the first thing I thought, and I said, how many out of the last 10? He said, well, I got shopped on 5.
So half.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a little on the high side.
It is on the high side. So what do you do? So let's start. I mean, what do you think? What do you say? How do you help them?
I do a couple things for me. So the first thing is, hey, first of all, let's start speaking the correct language and say, I get shopped on some of my deals. Right. So I think that's the first thing. Because like if I go into it, I get shopped on all of my deals. If I go out and start prospecting, I'm just going to get more shoppers. And so I'm going to go out and do something that I don't love to do, which is prospecting. And the end result of that is getting something I hate getting, which is shoppers. I'm going to tap out. Right, me, you, and everybody else. We're going to tap out. So we have to start using correct language, and half the time I don't get shopped. So when I go out and get 10 new prospects, 10 new referrals this week, half of them I'm not going to get shopped on. So I think that's important. It's not that we don't work on the others, but we have to put it in the correct context. So now we go.
You know what that goes back to? So I heard something this last week, and it was so powerful, but it really goes back to skills. There's two main things you're looking for. Skills and belief. And what you're talking about is the belief, because what happens is our mindset gets skewed to say always. And now you're exactly right. When I prospect, I go get what I don't want, which makes me not want to prospect. And that's something they said is we're having call reluctance. Why? Because they believe every deal
100% of the time, I'm going to get something I don't want, which is a shopper. Yeah. So, I'm a firm belief that belief comes first. and then skills follow belief.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that we have to get high skill first and then I'll start believing.
Yeah.
But we never get, and I'm using air quotes here, we never get there. Like,
Yeah.
where is there? Like as soon as I'm good enough, then I'll believe in myself. Well, gosh, let me know how that works out for you. Right. I mean, that's yeah. So it's this weird thing that we have to believe that we can.
Yeah.
And we have to believe that when I'm prospecting, I'm going to get good things coming from it. So, all right. So a couple things. So number one, I'd start using great language. Start using
correct language.
Accurate, correct, accurate and correct language.
Yep.
So it's not BS. Like, it's real. Like,
Yeah.
it's correct. It's the accurate way of saying it.
Yep.
So saying that I'm getting shot by everybody is not the truth.
That's right.
All right. So number two, I'm going to look at my source of leads.
That's exactly right.
So talk to me about that. So
well, the first question you and I would ask is, where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Is there one agent that's giving you the majority of the clients they're shopping? And sometimes, Carl, it's because there are certain agents that say, hey, listen, make sure that when you talk to your lender, shop around for the best, lowest rate. They don't even know what they're saying, but they're teeing up. Their agents are teeing up the client to go in and just hyper focus on rate. Here's one thing, Carl, we talk about it in our boot camp. We know mathematically you're not going to get shopped every time unless somebody's teeing them up, because here's what we know: 60 to 69% of the population's a high S in the DISC assessment, which means their natural behavior style is not to go shop and change lenders. They want it to be consistent and steady. They don't like change. The only time they change is when they don't trust you, or they've got a suspicion, or your process has been so clunky that it's like, you know what, maybe I need to see what else is out there. But their whole deal is lead me well. And so I think when we're looking at lead source, is it one referring it to you that way, or is it many? And if it's many, is it because it's the way I'm teeing up the agents to refer me? So lead source is so important, because if it's one, cool. Don't pursue that one, go get more. And the source and how you're being referred oftentimes is a beginning culprit of why you're getting shopped, and especially right when you go under contract.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I will tell you that by far most agents won't coach them to, hey, shop around. That's going to be the minority.
100%.
And it'll tend to be the lower producing agents that'll do that. An experienced agent knows they would much rather have the confidence that you're going to close on time, and that you're not going to and that you're not going to dupe them into something, right? You're not going to you're not going to bait and switch them, because then they get mad and maybe the deal falls apart anyway. So it's going to tend to be and I wouldn't say every time, but almost every time it's going to be a lower producing agent that coaches them to shop around.
So I like that. So we got accurate language. We've got check your source.
Yeah.
What's the next one you're thinking?
The next thing I'm thinking is my own scripting. So these are the 3 S's.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So start having correct conversations in my head.
Yep.
My sources. And my scripting.
Man, I like it. So talk about that. I hear you got a really good script for that one.
Well, I who did I get this from? There was this guy.
He just came.
He wasn't the most handsome guy, but he was really smart. So, yeah, dude, I got this from you. And it's asking for their commitment up front. But look, we all get shopped.
Yeah,
I would say it probably runs about, on average, and this is just off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of probably 10-15%. Is that your experience? A little more, a little less?
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, it's funny because I was talking to these guys. We're seeing probably 30%.
All right, so 30%.
But here's the difference is we're not losing 30%. We're getting shopped probably 30%. The difference maker is increasing your skill in scripting and in process, because the more dialed in your process is, think of it like bumpers on a bowling alley. Like if I got a smooth and flawless process and I'm walking them through their clear next step and I'm answering their questions ahead of them asking the questions, then I close for commitment. They feel trust and confidence that I'm providing a clear mortgage plan. Carl, those people don't want to leave. They only leave when they feel suspicious. Or I'll tell you one of our gaps, what we were finding earlier in the year, and we solved it. It was actually late last year, was Carl, we would, like 2 weeks ago, if you approved somebody 2 weeks ago and walked through rate options and putting together a clear mortgage plan, it's 0.25% higher this week.
Yeah.
And so what would happen is we weren't having the conversation before they went under contract. And then when they get the contract on Monday, they say, hey, it's different than what we talked about 2 weeks ago. So that's another process we added by doing a quick, we call it a 15-minute mortgage refresh. And when we're doing our pre-approved and looking calls on Thursdays, we're just saying, hey, you guys found any homes that you're going to look at over the weekend? Great. Let's book into a 15-minute mortgage refresh. Then we go back over the numbers ahead of a contract, close for commitment again, and we're able to convert more. We stopped losing some of those deals when they came in on Monday. So, but go to scripting.
Yeah. Yeah. And really probably the probably the single best scripting I've heard is one that we look, there's a good portion of time we're not going to stop the shoppers.
Yeah.
Right. That most of the time we're not going to be able to stop them from shopping. Right. It's just the way it is. What we can do is identify them early in the game, so we spend as little time as possible with them.
That's right.
And so so asking that beautiful crafted question that you have is after we do the application.
Yep.
And then we talk about the loan programs,
mm-hmm.
and then to ask that wonderful question and tell them, hey, this is your monthly payment, and this is the cash to close that you're going to need. Is there anything that would prevent me from being your lender?
That's it. Hey, that question is such magic, man.
Oh, dude,
it's a dividing line. It's like either yes, there is, or no, there's not.
That's it. And it's just that simple. I really like that. That's one of the first scripts I ever heard from you, Steve, before you and I even were introduced to each other. I heard it on your podcast, right? This podcast here. I heard it on your podcast, and I went, man, that's I've never done that, right? And brother, I've been involved with like tens of thousands. Maybe not by that time. Certainly thousands and thousands, and maybe 10,000. I don't know if I did 20,000 yet, and so anyway, thousands and thousands and thousands of closings. Never thought of that script. Never thought of asking for their commitment. I just assumed it, and you taught me that's a very dangerous game to play. And so now that we've identified who those shoppers are, totally cool, totally fine. We totally respect them. We just call the agent, give them the heads up that, hey, all bets are off. This person's not willing to commit, so I can't commit to them. Right.
Yep, that's fair.
And your commission check is in danger at this point.
That's right.
Until they make a commitment here. And so start having correct conversations. Check out your sources. And when I say check out your sources, I wouldn't put all agents under one bucket. I would say which agents are giving me that. That's
right.
And again, I would look at things like if I'm pulling them off of say social media, then this is already a online type person.
Yeah.
And if they're basing who they're doing business on, which is a very small percentage, by the way, it runs about 3%.
Yeah.
So if I tap into that 3% that's pulling their lender off of social media, I am going to get more shopping. I was just talking to a guy yesterday, and he was getting, what did he say? He said, "Hey, Carl, I'm at 1.3% conversion on social media. What should I do?" And I went, "Dude, nothing. That's about it. Like that's actually pretty good, right? That was not a bad number. And I'm not saying that's a bad number to work with. I'm just saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so you are going to get a lot more unqualified people, and you're going to get a lot more people ghosting you, and you're going to get a lot more people shopping you. And there's nothing wrong with 1.3% as long as you've got a massive machine, that can handle
turn leads. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to get 5 closings for the month, you're going to need
500 leads.
400 or 500 leads. And there's nothing wrong, but you're gonna have to talk to 400 or 500 people, and so as long as you got a machine that'll do that, I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. Personally, I'd rather tap into, something that's, I don't know, between say 15% and 25% closure rate. It takes a way less fuel to feed that engine. So, so anyway, so I think the bottom line here is, look, shoppers are going to shop. nobody likes losing, but even greats like Tom Brady, uh, they don't make 30 passes for the game and get 30 receptions. Like, it just doesn't work that way. I think if they're somewhere in the neighborhood of 60%, they're considered an all-star. And I don't know that number exactly, but that my suspicion is somewhere around a 60% conversion rate on catching a pass. You've got a winning team.
Yeah.
And so you can't say, well, gee, we don't catch any of our balls. No, you complete 60% of it, and 40% of them you don't. And that's a winning number.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing is to let a shopper deflate us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we stop doing the activity. That's when you lose. It's not the handful of percentage of loans that we lose. It's that mental space in our head. It's taking the wind out of our sails. Boy, you cannot let somebody take the wind out of your sails. And look, we all get the wind taken out of our sails from time to time. We just can't let it happen on an ongoing basis. And having
just get up.
having inaccurate conversations in our head, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Make sure you hang out with positive people. Hang out with winners. Right. Hang out with positive people. Because, sometimes if I'm feeling down, Steve, I'll call you up and say, hey, man, I just had this happen and I'm a little frustrated over it. And you go, well, tell me something good happened today. Or what lesson did we learn from that, Carl? What lesson did you learn from that you can move forward with? Well, all right. I don't want to look at the lesson here. I want to gripe for a few minutes, but all right, I'll look at the lesson. And then we look, all right, well, what did we learn from that? And it's like we're driving the car around the racetrack and we put a new tire on and then we hit the wall because we slipped. Well, what did we learn? Well, we learned the other tire's better. All right, well, let's run that tire, and I think it's the learning from it and not, I love that you have another saying that I just absolutely love. And it's like, look, if I get a bad haircut, I'm not going to stop getting haircuts. I'm just going to find a different barber.
That's it.
I'm going to get my hair cut a different way. And I think that's the thing is like, don't, God knows, right? Do not cash in your chips at this point, learn from it, sharpen your axe and get out there and start swinging. Dude, did you see that? Did you see that thing that I posted just a few minutes ago? I was talking with Tammy Saul. I love that lady. She's just an amazing person. And she gave me a line the other day, and I wrote it down. And she said, I was talking about work ethics and what drives you. And for, I think everybody knows who she is, but just in case you don't, like, this lady closes dozens and dozens and dozens
50 plus loans a month.
A month. Each month. And it's hers. Like, it's not a team of 30 people. It's or 30 loan officers. She's the loan officer. Anyway, so she said, Carl, when I was a kid, whenever I'd complain about something or say I was bored or wanted more money, her mom, and she clarified, that her mom's a Ukrainian mother. So, which, whatever that means, kind of a high drive culture per se.
Sure.
But anyway, she said, whenever I was a kid and whenever I'd complain about something or say I was bored or wanted some money, my mom would say, pick up a shovel and work. Pick up a shovel and work. And Tammy said, I didn't like it, but I did it. And that's how I learned. And then it became a habit. And that's what turned me into a success story. So pick up a shovel and work. Isn't that
that's a good.
I mean, that solves all problems, and I think the biggest issue people have, loan officers have right now, is they've forgotten that, hey, this is a work year. Some years it's a gimme. Yeah. And we had a good handful of those for a little while. Yeah. And now it's a work year. And I think,
hey, Carl, let me say something about that. It was interesting, even with the two brothers I was talking to earlier. I said, you know what's happened the last couple of years, because right now they're so busy doing busy work, they've been neglecting the prospecting side of it. Because you know why? Everyone's shopping, which now gives them call reluctance because they don't want more of everyone shopping. So it firmly starts with the belief. But here's what we were talking about, Carl. You know what happened to this industry? The last 2 years, or 2 years ago, when it was just raining loans, we were doing busy work, which was not bringing in the loans. And we thought, oh, I'm busy, busy, busy. Oh my gosh, look at all these loans coming
I'm a
in.
genius. I'm a
Oh my
genius.
gosh. And checking out these guidelines and setting up this loan file and running the pre-approval and getting into the loan application instead of making outbound sales calls. Wow, this really works. And what happened was when the bottom fell out, you realize, no, you weren't doing the right activity. The
You were
business was just
successful.
that good.
You were successful despite your activity.
Despite making the calls, despite
Yeah.
being focused on the right agents, despite doing your follow-up, despite building a clear process and working on my scripts. And that's what I said. I said, this is all this market's done is exposed that we weren't doing the right activity. So now it's time to get into doing the right activity. Understand you're going to lose. Look, yes, there's more rate shoppers, but not everybody. And I love what we talked about, man. It goes back to the right language, the right source, and understanding the right script and structure to help you convert more of what you got. And at the end of the day, Carl, sometimes I think this is truly a season you got to go get more. I mean, it's just what it takes. So
yeah, I love it, man. So nice
stuff.
It's kind of that saying that we've all been saying lately. When the tide goes out, we find out who's swimming naked.
That's it. A lot of us were naked, weren't we?
A lot of us were naked. And you know what? In some areas of my business, me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah.
So I learned from it. I learned from it. So
that's it. Hey, well, listen, if you want help with it, we can help you. Go to freedomplanningcall.com. You want to look at, I've got a whole section on building structure and the scripting. Carl was talking about how to convert more of what you've already got. We can help you with it. freedomplanningcall.com. Go to freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to help you. And with that, remember, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.